We did a book on the history of baseball in Jamestown, and it's called Across the Seams.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, probably do, and may have even seen it, but we did a lot of research on it, and among the things we did was to interview those folks who were still alive, who were part of the history, which included Jerry Lawson.
Jerry Lawson.
I-
How about Bob Lindell?
I never interviewed Bob.
Didn't you?
No, so you're going to give me a little background regarding that process, but
Yeah, well, at the time when I was with them, they were partners.
just back up just a little bit, Carol. Tell me, first of all, tell me a little bit, this is for your family, tell me a little bit about your mom and dad.
Art and Gene Larson. My
Okay.
father was Mr. Coca-Cola. He worked for the Coca-Cola Company for years.
Right.
My mother, when I was very young, was home, but she did end up going to work for Quality Markets and worked for Quality Markets for many, many years. They finally did buy a home. They rented a home back in those days. Those people did.
Right.
Didn't have the money. My father didn't even have a car. But we did have, did things together. We talk about going to football or baseball games. We walked from Thayer Street, where we lived, down to the stadium and saw baseball.
No kidding.
Oh yes, many times. We walked down to Roseland Park and went ice skating.
Sure.
Many, many times.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
And do you have siblings?
I have Connie,
Connie, of course, just
Uh-huh.
Right, Connie, right?
right?
Were there other siblings?
Nope.
Just the two of you?
Just the two of us.
Okay.
Connie's a little older.
And I got to tell you, just personally, I worked when I was 16. I spent a summer working at Coca-Cola, which is on Fairmount Avenue, and I
That's
worked.
when they were on Fairmount,
That's
okay.
right. And so I remember your dad, and I remember Carl Berg,
Carlberg.
who was the owner, and he would occasionally come through the plant and, kind of stir things up and then move on.
Wasn't Date Wilkins the owner?
No, this time I don't remember him. I mean, I remember meeting him.
Okay.
He had sold
okay.
it to Carl.
Carl, okay.
And I don't know, had Carl owned it earlier, or did he
Yes.
just, yeah,
No, Dayton Wilkins,
right, Dayton Wilkins,
and then Carl.
then Carl, okay. So I was there during the Carl Berg time period, though I met Dayton later. Because they actually had a couple of brands named Wilkins, grape, or Wilkins, it was a green lime juice or something. Lime Ricky, I think it was. Oh my gosh, small world. So that's a little bit of me and your dad. So you actually went to the games early on, so that was a little bit
yeah.
in your blood.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Dad loved baseball. Yes, he did.
And these were the Jamestown Falcons at the time?
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the players when you were a kid?
Like I said, I saved some of the stuff. I do recognize some of the names
Yeah.
back then. But this was when I was working for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did that happen? You were Carol. You're not married. You were not married at the time.
No, I was still in high school.
Oh my golly.
I was Carol Larson. I graduated. Actually, I got the job in the spring, and I graduated that June. I got it through apparently I don't know if it was Jerry and Bob or who came to the school looking for a secretary.
Jamestown High School, or?
Yeah,
No kidding.
yeah, and
In fact, I'll give you this picture. I'm sure you've seen it.
yeah, in fact, I've got it in my thing,
And so that in the picture are two people. Can you describe them? The two
Yeah,
people with
Bob and Jerry.
you? Bob, who's Bob?
Bob
Just for the
Lindell.
camera.
Bob Lindell.
Okay.
No,
Lundell,
Lundell, yeah. And
And
Jerry Lawson.
Jerry Lawson. And tell me a little bit about Bob Lundell, because
Bob was quiet, kind of a quiet man. Jerry was more a boisterous, outgoing person.
what was Bob's background? Do you remember?
You know, I'm not pleading being a teenager, but I think because I was so young things like that were interesting to me. I probably could have cared less what he did. I know Jerry had a wife and family. I don't even know if Bob did.
Yeah. I'm reading from a book called Across the Seams, Professional Baseball in Jamestown, New York. And Jerry got involved he was previously a radio announcer for WJOC.
I guess I remember that.
Yeah, and he was a sports announcer, so he covered the games back in 1950 in that time period. And then later on, he, in 1950, this would have been 55, Jerry became the general manager. And
Okay.
this is 1955, I'm reading this now. Hillman Lyons, a guy named Hillman Lyons was the general manager.
General manager of the team.
Right.
Yep, I remember that.
And he left, or took a better job in Buffalo. And I'm reading this, it said 18 applications came to the Detroit executives for men who felt they could fill Lyons' shoes as general manager. Jerry Lawson, better known as the radio voice of the Falcons, was chosen for the job. And so he followed Lyons as part of the front office, and this would have been 1955. And then at the end of 1955, just again put all this into context, Detroit, who owned the franchise.
We were Detroit owned,
Right.
yes.
And then they put the actual franchise up for sale. So Detroit put the Jamestown franchise up for sale, and Jerry and an owner of the local bowling alley,
Bob. Okay.
that's Bob Lundell.
Yeah, that's right across the street.
We never had the name, so there we go. Bob Lundell, so there would have been 10 pins, probably.
You're right. I went there every day for lunch.
There we go. Then felt so they put in an offer, and they actually owned it. They got the offer, and they bought it in 1956. So the owners of the 1956 Falcons were Bob Lundell, now of 10 Pin Lanes. We're filling in gaps here. And Jerry Lawson, who had previously been the radio announcer for WJOC. And they hired, from Jamestown High School, one Carol. There you are.
Is that in the book?
No,
No,
I'm
it's
putting
not.
it in. I will fill this in. I'm filling this in. So you fill that in. So
I graduated from Jamestown High School in '56 in June.
In June of '56. So you had just graduated.
I had started working though. I'd leave Jamestown High School and come down to the stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and work in the office there. Yeah.
So you probably were the general manager, the only one there probably.
Most of the time I was.
Yeah.
And then all summer long, of course, after I graduated, I had the summer off, or not off. I worked every day down there.
So this would have been, you were there for 1 year?
I was there until, I think we started the next year, and probably the book could tell you more. When did they finally fold?
Well, okay, just for backdrop, and then we'll fill in all this, Carol, later. But after 1956, financial problems, so Jerry had to give up the ghost. So his ownership, he gave it up, and he and Bob gave it up. And a guy named Ernie Kessler in 1957 got the Pittsburgh Pirates to come in for a half a year. They came up for a few years, and then they closed the doors. So that would have been the Pirates in '57. I don't know if you were there in '57, but
I was there till they actually folded.
well, that probably would have been the same people, but just the Pirates instead of the Tigers.
I recall being called to the office and them proposing this to me, that this job has been opened up and they're looking for a secretarial. I took secretarial classes, and then I'm not saying much, but I apparently excelled in them to the point where they felt I was able to handle something like this. And so they had suggested, would I like this job? And I said, sure. At the time, you know, a young kid gets some money and seemed like a fun thing to do.
Did you meet one of those guys at the high school at the time, or?
I did not.
No.
Not that I remember.
So
I don't think so.
The principal or the kind of guidance counselor, somebody said.
I think just probably the principal did call me.
Said, you're the best we got, and we're going to offer a job.
Well, you know, they probably went to my teachers, my secretarial teachers, and said, do you have a girl that you think would fit this particular job? And I guess that's the way it unfolded. I'm only thinking, because at the time I don't quite remember exactly how it happened, but all of a sudden I was working.
So you went down to the stadium.
Went down to the stadium. I went down. I don't know. Someone took me down there. I imagine maybe my mother, and introduced me to the guys. And apparently they showed me the ropes and sat me down, and this is what I was supposed to do.
Where was your office?
Isn't that funny? We were just down there this past time with the 13-year-old Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
And we were walking through, my grandson, my great-grandchildren, and I said, there's my office. That was my office. As you walk through, right now it's all closed in.
Yeah.
But it was right there.
Was it underneath the stadium? Bleachers were underneath the bleachers?
Under the bleachers.
I'll be darned. So there's your office. Was it much of an office or just?
No, just a typical office.
Yeah, typewriter and.
Yeah, and an old-fashioned typewriter. There's no computers.
Was there anybody else there other than just you? And
no, and Jerry and Bob would be in and out.
So, what did they have you do? And I know as secretary, did you have?
I was in charge of writing a lot of letters to people to get them to buy season passes.
Sure.
I would write to companies, to upper people that I would think would be interested in purchasing season passes, maybe more than one, for their company. And I can remember manually typing hundreds of letters.
And would they call you?
And I wished I had saved them.
Yeah, did they call you or did they call Jerry? How did they?
No, I had a telephone.
Yeah.
And yes, though I answered the phone, and I did make calls. I made calls to see if people would be interested in purchasing tickets.
So you really were the office manager.
I was the only one. I was the office manager.
Yeah.
Then we did a show, Sunday, August 5th, 1956.
Oh my God.
At the stadium. We had the Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey All-Star Show. And we got pictures of them and the guys that came. That was fun.
Oh my gosh! So you used the stadium for a concert?
Yeah.
Oh my golly! I got to hear all about that.
Big too. Big.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, we're gonna have fun. We'll have fun. And we know that the co-owners were Bob and Jerry, and we know the Tigers manager at the time was a guy named Pat Mullen. What was he like?
He was nice. Pat was just he was a gentleman's gentleman.
And did you know much about his background?
No,
he was a
I really don't. All I know is when I ever saw him or was in a room with him, he was just a downright nice guy.
I'm going to read from the newspaper article. It says, Falcon manager Pat Mullen was one of the most feared sluggers in the major leagues.
Well, when he played.
When he played, yeah. And he was here taking batting practice down at the municipal stadium. Or what's it called? College Stadium then or municipal?
It was College Stadium.
College Stadium then, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the college, I don't know who kept it up. It must have been the college. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that's where the football games were. And
well, you got some pictures of some of the players, and I don't know, did you get a chance to get to meet some of the players?
Oh yeah, we'd go out to the. Do you remember the Public Inn up on?
Yes.
Yeah, go out dancing and go out. The guys, oh, they loved to party. They were party boys.
So you were single, a high school graduate with guys that were your age.
Those guys were they were my age, right?
Yeah. So I am looking at the back of the names of these pictures here, see if anyone rings a bell. If you have a story, go ahead. Jim Spyhowski or Frank Castro.
Frank Castro. He went on to play big league. Mm-hmm. He went on to the big leagues, and I can't tell you what team he was with, but I can remember way back when that he went farther than most of them.
Ray Young?
Ray. He was one of the older guys that were on the team. Mm-hmm.
And let's see who else we have here. A lot of Ray Young. You got a lot of Ray Young pictures, you know.
I think I was kind of sweet on him.
Well, it looks like it. You got 4 of them here.
I don't remember any of these boys being married.
I don't think they were at the time. Jimmy Lemondule?
That one doesn't ring a bell.
Here's one I do want to ask you about. Jesse Queen. He was African American. He was the first black player in the history of Jamestown Falcons. Do you remember Jesse?
I do. He was a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't honestly say any of those guys were not nice. They were nice young men. A little bit of spark in them,
yeah.
You know. They liked to be out partying, and they were.
Do you remember? I know I've been involved with the baseball in much later years, but every once in a while somebody would have actually got in trouble. Do you remember any incidents at all, without naming names, of any of the players? Kind of.
You mean getting in trouble?
Trouble. Not just kid trouble.
I don't. And there probably were some that I just didn't know about.
Yeah, well, you would have probably been given the office.
Yeah, I probably would have heard.
Another African American, Bubba Morton.
Bubba Morton, he was a parent. Yeah.
And he went into the major leagues. And let's see who else we have here. We got Whitey Verstraete. This is the Strauty. Looks like Whitey. Oh, I got to ask you one. The bus guy and trainer at the time was Jerry Klein.
And that drove the bus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you remember much about Jerry?
I don't. I liked him. He was a heck of a nice guy. Mm-hmm. I didn't ride the bus. I never. When we went out of town, Jerry and Bob and myself, we went by car. Did you go on the road? Some of them. Sometimes. Oh, yes, sometimes we did.
Yeah. Did you have any function on the road other than just being support?
Mm-hmm.
Back to some names that went to the major leagues. Phil Regan. Does that ring a bell?
Reagan.
Reagan, yeah.
I remember that name, too.
Another guy was Buck Rogers.
No, I don't remember that. I don't know.
I think for the very first time, there is the team 1, 2, 3, 4 black players, which was the first time Jamestown ever had black players on a team.
And that doesn't ring a bell either. That we had 4. I know we had a couple.
Yeah.
Why didn't I remember 4?
Yeah, I'm just looking at here's the picture.
Yeah, there they are.
And I have read about Jesse Queen as one of them, the first one. They're Bubba Morton, and there are 2 others that are mentioned on the back here. But do you recall whether was there any, and this is the 1950s.
Yeah, mid-50s.
Mid-50s, and so do you remember were there any issues regarding housing or integration and all that?
I do not. I don't think so. If there was, it was very quiet.
Yeah, you don't remember, nobody mentioned it to you.
No.
Very attractive.
I mean, if they had trouble finding housing, I'm sure that Jerry and Bob took care of it in a quiet, under-the-table manner.
Well, that's a good question. Where the players came here, and the players came from the Tigers. So the Tigers sent the players. You didn't sign anybody.
Oh, no.
So
They were all sent.
Yes, all sent. Yeah. And were you responsible for finding homes for these?
No. Not I.
Yeah.
I myself. If Jerry and Bob were, that I don't know.
Did they live in houses, residences?
I think they just bunked in apartments, like the college apartments.
Okay. Because there was no
one
college dorms like now.
No, they weren't. No.
And I'm going to continue to this is great stuff, and I can see that did some of the older guys ever stop by? Do you remember, like Johnny O'Neill or Johnny Newman? Those are kind of people from the 40s.
Those are names that I remember. How do you mean? How did they
come
stop
to the office?
by?
Did they kind of come by and come to the games? Or do you remember? Because they were sort of celebrities in Jamestown, having played.
Johnny Newman, I know, was very popular around.
So here's a great picture. Professional baseball will be hinged to two operations in Jamestown this summer. One is the Community Athletic Corp, which will control the Falcons. Its officers announced yesterday are Bob Lundell, president, Carol Larson, business manager. There we go. You had a title.
I did.
And field manager Pat Mullen, secretary, treasurer, and general manager Jerry Lawson, and Clayton Jones.
Clayton Jones.
Now, talk about Clayton. Who was he?
Wasn't he an attorney in town? You might have recognized that name.
I did.
Did you? Yeah. Was he?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a feeling he was the attorney for the Falcons. Would they have had an attorney?
Maybe they could well have had, yeah.
Maybe they needed one. They probably did.
Yeah, here's another picture of you. You were front and center in all of this here. The documents vary, but the signatures are important. And they talk about autographs that were given at the men's club dinner. Men's club sports dinner. There's Vince McNamara. There was Carol. So did you actually go to the dinner?
Probably.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. All the big names. And then there is this article that talks about the girls take over Hamilton operation.
Yeah, those two girls were really sharp girls, and they were really into baseball. I mean, more so than I, in the fact that they actually bought this franchise up in Hamilton, and we went up to Hamilton.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Jerry and Bob and I. I don't know if that picture was taken then or if they came down here. I think probably it was taken when we went up there. But they were smart cookies. They were a lot older than I.
What possessed them to buy a franchise?
I don't. Apparently it was for sale, and they liked baseball, and they wanted to make sure it continued on, so they bought the franchise.
Wow. So here's the headline. Carol Hodge and Jean Marini are the only women baseball club owners in the organized game. Period.
Well, yeah. I didn't. There weren't any other women that bought franchises.
So they purchased the Hamilton franchise in the Pony League, and that's what it was called then.
Yeah, the Pony League.
Discussing the subject of mutual interest with the Red Wing owners is Carol Larson, assistant to business manager of the Jamestown Falcons. Wow. This is an article by Frank Hyde. And
I remember good old Frank Hyde.
Yeah, it was Dateline Buffalo. And so there were a couple people around all the time, Frank Hyde being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Did he come down to the office? Did you see him?
Oh, yeah, he would come down.
Yeah.
And he would come down to games, too. I mean, he would be doing pictures, taking pictures. We had good crowds back then.
Did you?
I'll tell you, Greg, people liked baseball, and it was didn't have a lot of other things to do.
Right.
You know, in a nice night, why not go to a baseball game?
Time in 1956, I'm reading an article that the Pony League, the term Pony League, which is the Pennsylvania, Ontario, New York,
Yeah, that's
was an issue. There was an issue about somebody else was using that. We were using that name, and there was a legal conflict. Some, league.
I vaguely remember something about that because they were going to make us change ours, I think. We were going to have to revamp what we were going to be called.
I'm going to read this again for the camera because Carol was in the middle of this. This is the Pony League in 1956. And it was a tough year, 1956, because some of the teams ceased operations during that year. Bradford ceased operations after just 12 games. Hamilton followed suit 6 games later, leaving only 6 teams: Wellsville, Corning, Olean, Hornell, Erie, and Jamestown. If that weren't enough problems, a group called the Preserve Our Nation's Youth, PONY, notified Vince McNamara that they had the legal right to the name
Pony.
And planned to sue. So what happened was, to avoid the lawsuit, they changed the name to, in that year, your year, to the New York Penn League. That's when that term came up.
I have a feeling, and this is just, I don't know if we want this on tape or not, but Bill Wright, being my brother-in-law,
yeah.
I think he was kind of not in on it, but with me.
Right.
We're trying to figure out what to do.
And do you recall, did Jerry, as the season was going on in 1956, did he ever talk to you about kind of how the economics are going and the paying of the bills and all that stuff?
I think both he and Bob were very, very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the money was coming in.
Right.
And there again, like you say, a lot of them were folding. And I think they probably were right on their tails.
And because Bob and Jerry were the co-owners, they were the two guys that owned it, and they had a group. In fact, I'm just going to read a little bit more for the history. The Falcons finished 5th that year, 22,000 fans, and Lawson, at the end of the year, had to sign over the concession equipment, the team bus to the city of Jamestown to satisfy the terms of the lease. And that was, everybody was having problems, the whole league.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't Jamestown.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even realize till you read that the Hamilton franchise had gone up.
Yeah, so apparently shortly after the article, they owned it, and then that just...
They must have just bought it, and then it didn't go.
Yeah. And they had 3 managers that year. Pat Mullen. I read that he left because he had appendicitis.
Yes. He got really sick. He got sick right at a game.
Oh, did he?
He had an appendicitis, an attack. Yeah.
Did he have, did he late? What, do you remember any of the excitement about that?
Well, the excitement was he was taken to the hospital. And back then, things weren't as easy as they are today.
Yeah, that's right. And then after that, they had a manager, Don Lund. I don't know if you remember Don Lund. Does that ring a bell?
Yep, it does.
And then they had, at the end of the season, that got them through was Wayne Blackburn. Was the third manager. So they had 3 managers.
Yeah, that one I remember.
Yeah.
Blackburn. Mm-hmm.
Remember anything about him specifically? Unique about that year, it was the first black players in team history. Jesse Queen was the first. Dick Jones, Wendell Anton, and Bubba Morton. And Bubba made it to the bigs. And the other players of note were Phil Regan, who was in the Major League for 13 years. I actually interviewed Phil Regan.
Really?
I did that one time.
13 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Buck Rogers, who became a big-time manager in the major leagues.
How about Costa? I can remember Costa
Yeah,
being.
he went to the Twins, I think. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
He was somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Oh, man. So, there's another article here. This is all about you.
All about me.
Yeah. Again, this is great, and you can react to this. Our town Falcons front office is being manned, quote, manned, these days whenever general
Should've
manager
been
Jerry
woman.
Lawson is unavailable by business manager Carol Larson, a petite, blue-eyed blonde who will be graduated from Jamestown High School come June. Carol is a natural for the job since her major sports love is baseball, with football running second. She's as bright as a newly minted dollar, quick with answers to all questions concerning the players who have been signed the Falcons by the Detroit Tigers, as charming as only a lass can be, has a ready sense of humor, has the patience and perseverance under the ordeal of a rapid-fire series of questions that only a news scribe, so this must have been Frank Hyde or Wake Forsythe.
I was just who wrote that.
News scribe or a baseball fan can ask. All very essential traits to one who holds down the front office when the boss is away. So, I bet this was Wade Forsythe. Did you remember Wade Forsythe?
Yes.
I'm guessing. I discovered Carol's talent for accommodation upon my first 1956 visit to the stadium office recently on a day that could only be described as a typical winter day. Dull green sky, snow blanket ground, earmuff atmospheric conditions. Since my call was one of strictly business, as opposed to my sometimes ambling and scattergun questioning in quest of dope and diamond gossip, the queries I proposed included a number that required a lot of digging into club files. Carol not only did the digging, but she did it efficiently and cheerfully. I'm frank to confess that I was impressed most favorably by the Falk's new business manager. It would seem the young lady exercised acumen in the selection of the work she wants to perform. Secretaryship. Is that such a word? Well, there it is in my book.
I guess so.
Yes. Carol started working in the stadium office on December 15th, 1955, and has been toiling diligently after school hours since. Speaking of terms of extracurricular activities, Carol is a juggler, teaming up with Joanne Hagberg with Dr. William Crosby as an instructor. So tell me about that, a juggler.
You want to see I got a whole thing of juggling too.
No kidding. How did you get into that?
We're talking baseball here.
Go ahead. He brought it up. Wait, I brought it up.
Well, when I had gone to a show where I saw Doc Crosby perform his jugglers,
Yeah.
and I said to Joanne, who was a friend of mine, I lived on Lovell Avenue, she lived on Proudfoot. You know Fort Hagberg probably.
Oh, sure.
And I guess we were in junior high school, and we decided we were going to learn how to do it, and we did, and we went on shows. We were on television a couple times.
Really?
And her daughter, Joanne's daughter, when she wrote up Joanne's obituary, put it in the paper. That she was a juggler with me. Yes, we had. I've got more than that stuff on my juggling.
So when you were doing programs, did you go? Were you on stage? Did you go, like perform? We talk about television. Where did you go? Buffalo?
Actually, we went on Super Circus, which was in Philadelphia. We were out in Illinois at conventions. We'd go to conventions, and they would film us out there, and not just us. the jugglers back then, there were probably 100, 150 of us at conventions.
Wow.
We had a great time, just a great time.
So were you in high school at the
And
time?
junior high, and when we got to be seniors in high school, Joanne said, "This is it. I'm not doing this anymore."
So what kind of juggling did you do? I mean,
we had pins, we had balls, we had rings. Yeah, I still have my juggling pins.
and they mentioned an instructor in this article, Dr. Bill Crosby.
Bill Crosby, he was a chiropractor, or some type of a chiropractor. He was right there on the corner of 5th and not Cherry, Pine, not Pine, right over where Covenant Church is.
Right.
He had his practice there.
Wow. Well, so what? So your mom and dad, did they have to on weekends?
My mom and dad, my mom was scared to death I was going to join a circus.
Really?
Not that I would ever think about, but.
So when you were at these, were they variety shows so that
Yep.
you were one of the acts?
We were booked on variety shows all the time. Doc Crosby was familiar with a lot of organizations, and he would book us for just to go in and perform. We'd go down to Gwanda to the hospital. We were down in North Warren. Back then, things like that. You went and did things like that. Not that I would today.
Would you have, how long was your show? Was it normally 10, 20 minutes?
Yeah, but not more than 20.
Yeah.
No.
Did you have a name for the two of you? Did you?
No, no. I don't think we did.
The Juggalettes or anything like that?
Someday when you want to interview me with my juggling stuff, maybe there's a name in there somewhere.
Well, that would be, there we go. Part 2 of this Carol Sorg story. Wow. So we're given the fact that probably not many of your classmates as a senior had jobs like this. Were you a celebrity? I mean, you were at the ballpark, you were hanging with the players, you were...
Yeah. But they were only there in the summer.
Right.
And of course, I graduated, and I did start working. I ended up working down at Marlin Rockwell, and in the winter time. Then after that, and then of course, then that's when Bill Wright tried to help me because I was kind of laid off, or I had no job. I can't remember that. And then, of course, Bill's gone, so he can't either. But
so the season and the team have folded.
Yeah.
Jerry's ownership folded in '56.
Yep.
Do you remember him ever coming in and saying, "Carol, this is it"?
No. I mean, it all happened, and I was almost like I was just out of it.
Yeah.
It was gone.
So the season, and they did run the full season.
Yep.
So it ran the full season, and then it ended, and the season was there much after the players left? Was there much work done afterwards, or was it just like cleanup work? Or?
Well, I'm sure there was probably that type of work.
Yeah.
But once the players were gone, and after that, I don't know what happened to all the equipment and everything, even my office equipment. I don't know whatever happened to any of that.
Well, it looks like Jerry had some debts to the city. He owed the city some money, so he gave him the bus, the concession stand. I mean, he just gave him everything. Take everything, and we'll try to call it a day. And he was when I interviewed Jerry, he said that he basically lost, everything, all of his investment in that year. So he was the general manager in '55, and then he owned it with Bob So they invested money, their own money, and it didn't work. What I am interested in, Carol, is you got a program I've never seen. This is called the Community Athletic Corporation. And that was the ownership. They were the ownership.
Is that the Dorsey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the Dorsey thing, and it's Community Athletic Corp, which I think I read that was the actual entity that owned the franchise. That was Bob and Jerry was the name of the organization, Community Athletic Corp. And they presented Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey All-Star Show August 5th to raise money.
Yeah.
Municipal Stadium.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we got a big crowd.
I can imagine. And you have an autograph. Good for you, because you were obviously there.
Of course I was.
Yeah.
I loved them. I loved them.
So tell me about that night.
Oh gosh, no. I don't have a memory of what I did last night. How could I tell you about that? That all I can I do remember though. I remember having them. It was to me thrilling to have them, and they did such a great job, and they were such nice people. You know, they just came right there and they set up. They did their thing.
Where did they set up?
Right out in the field.
Was it by pitcher's mound or?
Yep, I picture them as I'm thinking about it, right out there in that infield.
And were there seats on the grass and then in the stands too, or do you remember?
Of course, we didn't have the stands that we have now.
Right.
I don't remember having extra chairs up, but I'm sure the stands were full, and the grandstand was full.
Because I don't think I've ever read about this, but here, I mean, obviously, you're the big deal. There are a lot of things autographed to Carol, just to Carol. These autographed pictures.
Well, because I probably was there, and I got them to sign. They were giving pictures, I'm sure, to everybody, anybody that wanted them.
Well, I don't know. So, I mean, this is the who's who. You get Tommy Dorsey, Jimmy Dorsey. I'm just naming names here. This is big. Bunny Briggs, who must have been their dancer, and then Lynn Roberts, and then Tommy Mercer, who's a big deal. You got his autograph.
None of those people are even alive.
Yeah, and you had the Edwards brothers, and then the one I remember, because he went on afterwards to have his own orchestra, Lee Castle. Lee Castle, too. So this is quite remarkable that they tried to raise enough money to really, I mean...
I'm sure that was the main purpose of it, I'm sure it cost us a bundle of money just to get them here.
Yeah. Did you sell the ads in the program?
I believe I was, yeah. I think somehow there was some type of...
Well, it's unbelievable because you have everybody here in Jamestown as an advertiser.
Yeah, we had to sell advertising. I can remember doing that. I would have to be selling the advertising. I was the only one.
Was that the only time they did something special like that?
Yeah, I don't ever think they ever did anything other than that. That was a big deal.
Yeah, I've heard of people thinking about it, but I've never heard people actually doing it.
Actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're part of the new ownership structure in Jamestown, and we've been thinking about whether or not to do something like that, but it's always too much work. But you did it, Carol.
Yeah. Don't ask me to do it again.
Wow, that's terrific. So
I'm sure Bob and Jerry were out there selling advertising too.
Yeah.
I think they probably did their part.
So what was a normal day for Carol Lawson there? I mean, did you come in, especially during the season? So let's say during the season itself.
I stayed down there, and I stayed through every game.
Mm-hmm. Normally, when would you get in? Like at 10 o'clock? Or you remember what a normal day was like?
When I was out of school,
Right.
after school was over, I'd go down in the morning.
Yeah.
I would go down in the morning. I would be there. I would work a normal what I would consider a more normal business day. And then if we had a game that night, I would stay. I would stay for the game.
Did you take tickets or anything else?
No, we had ticket takers. We had people taking tickets.
Who ran the concession stand? Do you remember?
Mm-mm.
And of course you sold programs and you sold, I mean, the team sold programs, but your job was, you stayed right?
I think the guy, Jerry and Bob did a lot of that.
Yeah. Were you involved when the game is over and they had to grab all the money and,
No, I was not at all involved with money.
Yeah.
I probably never even got paid if I think about it. No, I'm sure I did. But no, I think that was all taken care of by Jerry and Bob.
Yeah. Did you have the relationship with the Tigers so that when players came and went or got signed, anything like
No.
that?
No, we had a manager. The manager would have been whoever was managing at the time. Like you say, they changed managers quite often. But
it turned out, that year, yeah.
Yeah. I really wasn't involved in any of that.
I'm envisioning you being a petite, young blonde there, as I just read, at the office, having some girlfriend saying, "Hey, can you introduce me to some of the ball players?" Did you have that happen?
No, I didn't. Well, not that I can remember. I can remember going up, like I say, to the Starlight. We would go up and dance, and maybe some of my friends did go up too.
Yeah.
I would imagine, probably. I wouldn't go alone.
Would it been after the games? Is that what happened?
Oh, not after. Oh, I thought
No, I'm just curious. When you say you went dancing, would that be during the season, before the season?
Yeah, I would say during the season,
Okay.
but we didn't have games every night either.
Ah, that's it. Yeah.
No, Starlight.
Oh, Starlight. Excuse me. Where was that?
Well, it's still there. Actually, it's now a church. If you go out Savannah Avenue before you go up Dutch Hollow, it was right there.
Okay.
Isn't it a church?
Yeah, it is.
Bob Benson.
And now I know exactly what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Yeah, they did convert it into a.
And it was the Starlight, and then it ended up being a couple other different restaurants. I mean, it was still a restaurant, but different names. But I don't know when it actually became the church. The restaurant folded.
And so would they have bands, or was this jukebox stuff?
We'd have bands. They'd have jukebox or bands, depending on Saturday night or Friday night.
Well, then this must have been a lot of fun for you.
Well, it was fun. It was fun. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, a little bonus.
Hmm. But I never married a baseball player.
Well, some of those baseball players early on in the 40s, they would come here, meet local girls, and stay here.
Yeah. You ever remember Dave Werner?
Oh, sure.
Okay. They lived next door to me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. In fact, I still talk to Betty all the time.
Oh, good.
Betty lives out in Indianapolis with her son and daughter-in-law right now. But, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed David when we were doing a lot of stuff early on.
Uh-huh.
Very, very, very interesting story. He's a very good player.
Yes, he was. He was a
very
very good player.
Yeah, there was the Johnny O'Neills and a lot of people who were, especially the early 40s, they would be celebrities. They were the baseball guy celebrities, and they'd attract the young women, and there you go.
They get married. Well, the women hung around them.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of women that hung around back then when I was down there.
Yeah.
They were older than myself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they were there to see the baseball players.
Well, the young single men.
Of course.
Terrific. Did you stay in touch with the baseball? Did your interest after 56 came and went? You worked on it, MRC, and
Yeah.
was there an interest after that?
Of baseball?
Yeah.
Not really, because we didn't have any baseball here.
Right, that's true.
And as far as going anyplace else to see, I don't think, I maybe went to Cleveland a few times,
Yeah.
but I can't really remember. Actually, when I think about it, it probably was 10 years later,
Right.
if not 15 or 20.
You knew I was coming here all of 2 days ago. Is there any question that you thought I was going to ask of you, Carol, about baseball that I haven't asked?
Well, actually, I had no idea what you said you were going to come and going to interview me. I just thought you were going to ask some questions about baseball. And I knew I had this stuff, and so I dug it out, and I just thought you'd probably come and I'd show you, and you take it, and if you want anything there, you want to take it and
Well,
look at it.
I will take it, but borrow
That's fine.
it.
Sure.
I'll borrow it because I want to take pictures of this. And Randy Anderson
You
would
could-
certainly love to do that.
You can put it in this envelope or whatever. Page signs, Falcon pack. There's a couple more.
Well, let's see what we got here. Well, Bill Page, who worked the only 4 games for the Jamestown Falcons last season, and did not complete a 1-loss record, has signed a 1956 contract. So that was bringing in. Here we go. There's a reason where you got this. Is other activities on the local baseball front include an announcement by Lawson that a new automobile will be presented to the 150th fan through the turnstiles.
Oh my gosh.
The goal is for the Falcons have drawn 150,000 only once in history, but Lawson said a figure is not impossible and can be reached. Well, you didn't quite get there. You didn't get quite 150,000.
They didn't.
You didn't. So I don't think you gave away a car that year. And then you also grabbed 2 more players have signed Jamestown Falcon contracts for 1956. Carol Larson of the Falks head office have announced. So they had you announce, Carol. You were
Say
announced.
that again?
So you, Carol Larson. This is the headline. 2 more players have signed Jamestown Falcon contracts for 1956. Carol Larson of the Falcons head office has announced today.
Oh, I announced? Okay.
So you announced it. No, not Jerry, not Bob. You. My golly.
By golly.
Yeah, Richard Day and Howard Malosh, on whom no information is available. So you were the spokesperson. That's pretty cool.
Apparently, they called me up. I would say they probably called and they had heard that there were 2 new guys, and I just told them who they were.
Well, there you go. You became...
I was the announcer, though.
You were the face. You're the face of the organization. A good thing. This is fantastic. Can I switch gears here for just a second? Because one of the things you mentioned early on off camera was how you had a tape of our interview with Jim on his incredible experience in Norway. And I'm sure he told you that, but at some point there was a time when he told you that for the first time, about his backstory. What was that?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was something he didn't like to talk about.
Yeah.
He really didn't. He didn't like to talk about what he saw as a kid. I mean, these were terrible memories he had. Is the many things that he went through in his childhood, over there, here, and then going over there, and then he had 7 years over there. But he didn't like to talk to. I mean, he wouldn't sit in a big room with people if we were entertaining and give them the life story.
Yeah.
He just wasn't that type of person. But as he would tell me.
Were you surprised? I mean, was he emotional about that, or was it just more matter of fact?
It was hard for him. It was hard for him to talk about it, but it was hard for him to relive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very hard. And he had you know, at the time, you know, you think, well, he's got everything he'd ever want right now. You know, he's got his family, he's got his home, he's got his life, everything's going good. But those are things that you can't just brush out of your memory.
Right. Yeah. We were so honored that he was willing to do that so publicly.
Yeah, it was hard. I'm surprised you got him to do it.
Yeah.
I really am.
I don't want to say I convinced him, but he did do it, and incredibly well. And I don't know if it was cathartic for him or whether he ever talked about having done it, what he did, but a lot of people listened to it and heard it for the first time.
Right. Absolutely.
And
they don't realize that what he went through as a kid. And he was just a kid.
Yeah. So I really appreciated him doing that, and hopefully I think he appreciated doing it. Cathartic. It was a catharsis, you know, kind of talk it out and get it out in once, just in a public, controlled setting.
But I will say that it was hard for him to do it.
Yeah. Well,
but it was something that I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
That he finally did.
Yeah. Carol, you've been outstanding. I just have really enjoyed our time here because you filled in some blanks when we were doing the book 30-some years ago. We should have talked to you more to fill in names and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can remember the book coming out, and I can remember I must have read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, back then I didn't think so much of it because I didn't think anybody knew that what I did. I mean, it was such a short term. I mean, gosh, it was just maybe a little over a year that I might have been there. Just one season of baseball.
But it was quite the season, only because Jerry, what it is to me, and if I haven't sent it to you, I will. Do you have an email address and stuff? I mean, if I sent you a link to a YouTube, I'll send you Jerry's, we'll get that off the camera.
He's not alive, is he?
No.
Oh.
But he was here when we did a lot of interviews with guys back in the mid-'90s.
Okay, yeah.
It's the mid-'90s, so 30 years ago. Jerry, Jim Roselli, Jack Gallagher, all the ball players who played in the 40s, and even one of the guys who played in 1956 with you, Phil Regan, we interviewed him. He was with the Cleveland Indians at the time.
I liked Phil, yeah.
And those guys were, all have memories. And they remember Jerry Klein, and as a bus driver. And he had songs, and he'd make fun of people, and in fact, that was the common thread. Those in the 50s and 60s was Jerry Klein. And I think he must have run a restaurant in Lakewood here, but he was always at the ballpark smoking a cigar. And selling.
Always hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah. Do you remember anything more about Jerry? Do you remember?
I didn't ride the bus. I probably would go to where the bus was. I would see him and I would talk to him, but I don't really remember that much about him, no.
Did the players talk about the experience here in Jamestown at all? Do you remember them saying this has been a good experience and anything?
Well, I not that I could remember. I never heard anybody say that they hated it here.
Yeah.
That it was miserable, and I can see where nowadays they wouldn't. This is a dead town for them, you know.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think they enjoyed it here. I think it was a good town.
Yeah.
Jamestown was a great town.
Well, and you took him and entertained him at the Starlight. Well, clearly one of these guys must have caught your attention, because there's usually one picture of a lot of ball players, but like 4 of this one guy.
Young.
I'm just saying. I know. Enough for the camera. No need to explain anything here.
I can't remember really.
Oh, that's good. Go. Memory. It's the memory. I can't remember. That's good.
Like I say, back then it's very, very, very far back here.
Was it a fond memory? Did you have a good memory?
Yes, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And one thing I remember, that stupid things like, but for my graduation, those baseball players, they bought me luggage. A whole set of luggage, which I had for years.
Isn't that nifty?
Yeah, wasn't that nice?
Wow. That's quite remarkable.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids didn't have much money. Probably didn't have any money.
No, they're not bonus babies, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah. Ray Young, and Ray Young. I'm just saying. Not much.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
This has been great. Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate it. I know I probably ambushed you with this camera, but you really did a great job.
Well, I'm glad I could help you. You've opened some of my, lightened some of my brain. Things that I've forgotten about. But it was fun. It was fun. I did enjoy it.